Got
Welcome,
it.
everyone, to the next episode of Independent Artists Unite. This is a very special episode. My friend here, René Ramos, is here to discuss this very unique journey that he had and writing his song. Um, René, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
And it's so wonderful to get a feel for you in person. We've been back and forth quite a lot uh, uh, via text, so
That's right.
it's so cool. I mean, it is a big difference. It's not like in person, but it is. It's pretty cool to be face to face all the
It's the next best thing.
time. Yeah. Um. Now, there's quite a story behind this. Why don't you take us through the build up to you kind of turning to your creative side in a time of discomfort,
Sorrow.
instability, or sorrow in your life.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, first tell us
So,
about what you do, Renee, which is
yeah.
also super cool. Yeah,
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm a creative role professional. I do everything from social media, art, animation, illustration, graphic design. I've done a lot of work. This is a logo I did for Haunt Me that Darius is using exclusively now for their band.
awesome.
And obviously, he's printed some merch as well.
Mm,
Well, you know that I did that shirt design for Jimmy of the Tokyo
I love.
Teens as well, and Bruce even adorned it during his interview, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yes, and I haven't been able to get one because they're horrible with things being shipped into Denmark. I don't know if you know about Denmark in this regard, but they throw a huge tax on everything. So often, if like I was surprised. I ordered one time a T-shirt from out of the country, and the tax on it was more than the shirt was when
It's
I paid. So
ridiculous.
they really go after you. So I'm actually
Yeah,
having my sister lives in upstate New York, and I'm going to visit her April 25th. And one of the things I'm excited about is I'm having her buy an In Goth We Trust T-shirt because I have to have that T-shirt.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
so I'll be able to grab it from her. So sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. Yeah.
no, no problem. No, that was Jimmy's idea. He had this thing. He wanted to say, "In Goth We Trust."
Yeah.
He wanted to reflect his look and make it look like money. I thought it was a cool idea. So yeah, I was able to create that shirt for him, and it's doing
Yeah.
pretty good for. Yeah,
It looks fantastic. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Thanks.
mean,
Yeah. So
every goth needs one. I mean, come on.
yeah. Yeah, so that's those are some of the things I do actually for Jimmy again.
Mm.
I just identified an older house in my area that we are going to record his video The Ghost in.
Oh, awesome.
So that is something that initially when he launched that amazing song, and I know you've talked to him about it, it's a very
Yeah,
cool backstory
yeah.
based upon the movie A Ghost Story.
Hmm.
And so I had provided or extracted a video clip that inspired his song and paired it with his own song. And he posted it and he met with some, pushback on that because of copyright infringement. And
Is
so
that right?
it's a
Okay.
yeah, so it's a limited broadcast. I don't know if anyone or if everyone was even able to see it, but
Okay.
this is why we thought we need to create our own video
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that he's got full rights to it and he can widely distribute it, which I'm really excited about that.
That's funny because I was wondering about that video because I did get to see it, and it was so touching, and I love the song so much, and so I was wondering why isn't he pushing this video more? But now that that
That's
an- that answers that.
he kind of got it shut down. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
very limited reach. Yeah. So
Limited run.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And now walk us a little bit towards the build up to this song, the things that were going on.
Yeah. Okay, so most of my audience will know me in my connection to Procession Magazine, where I'm the creative director. So
Mhm.
I've been doing that since issue 3, and the last issue we produced was issue 9, and I was loving that gig. Probably the most creative gig I've ever held. And I know that there's a lot of loyal fans out there of the zine that were very excited about each issue. Unfortunately, we didn't get the marketable reach that we had hoped for. And because our founder, Chris Cantor, was footing the bill for the print,
Mm,
it costs kind of became a big problem, and he had some back order of some issues that didn't move as well as others. And so bottom line was he decided that he wasn't going to continue the print version of the magazine anymore. So
and can I,
um,
let me just
yeah,
interrupt you
go
because
ahead.
if anybody hasn't seen Procession magazine, it is like the cool content is like equaled by this incredible creative direction that you do on the
Mhm.
magazine. You do super creative layouts and of text in different ways and pictures, almost like it's almost like a collage of pictures and text, right? I mean,
Yeah,
each layout is each. I mean, each like kind of gatefold thing is really a work of art, and
thank you.
it's yeah, and it just and it's all in shades of black and white as
Correct.
well. So it's just like so cool. But yeah, okay. So then continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, so we went black and white also to save costs.
Okay.
But it pairs very
Oh,
well with
yeah.
our genres that we feature. So it was great. It was a
Exactly.
perfect fit.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so while I've been doing all of this, and then I got the news from Chris and I was heartbroken.
Mm,
And so the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I feel like I need to express this somehow, And so I started writing my thoughts down digitally. These days we don't write anymore.
no, no.
And I'm like typing it out. And the more I looked at it, the more I read it, I started thinking about my days of playing guitar, which you'll see back there
Still
is
hanging on the wall back
my,
there.
oh yeah, yeah. And so I thought, I just music, as as a musician, you will sometimes wake with a song idea in your head,
Mm,
and I'm like reaching for a recorder to like even speak it, do 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 boom boom do do do,
mm,
something to capture it in the moment. And this was one of those scenarios that I thought, wow, I might need to dust off the guitar and do something about it. And so I actually did. And so my initial writing, which was more verbose, had to be pared down to lyrical form.
mm,
And then I had to also find, is there some way I can make these rhyme? Can I abbreviate it so it's, very succinct, limited words?
mm,
And then how do I time that with music? Because I mean, it was so many years ago that I was actually writing and playing, and then family came along and that all just went away. And so
mm,
very rusty. And so, but I put something together, and I had coordinated some feedback requests by
yeah.
with Gilles of the Industrious Sinister, and then
Mm,
also with Jimmy Bossford of the Tokyo Teens. As
mm,
those are two friendships that have somehow evolved in this internet world that we are in, and really cared for their opinions. And so they
mm,
made suggestions and guidance, and they applauded what I did, which I don't think is anything at a pro quality, but they encouraged me to do it, put it out there, And so I
mm,
thought, okay, well, why not? Okay, I'll do it. And so I know that Bandcamp is one avenue where you could do that, and so I thought I'll start a page here. I'll put the song and see what happens. And I'm very surprised that people have actually bought and downloaded the song. So that, as you had said in your last interview, in fact, is a pretty cool deal for anyone who's on Bandcamp to see, wow, there's people that are supporting what I've done. People cared enough to click buy or whatever, and so that is a very cool thing. And it should be encouraged for artists that do this primarily. As you said, when I ask you where can I buy your music, and you're like, buy it. What
yeah.
is that? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, well, okay, so the other thing that I do now is the photography thing with the pareidolia. It's something that has fascinated me from age 5 when I first noticed these faces in the fabric of my bedroom drapery. Then
Mm.
my parents were like, "What do you mean you see faces?" You know, and I could see they were concerned, and I thought, "Man, is something wrong with me? You know, what's happening?"
Yeah.
You know, and then it was only in my adult life when I learned it was actually a thing. It's called pareidolia, you know, and
Mm.
it's the anomaly of seeing faces in inanimate objects. You know, we either do or we don't. You know, everybody sees them, or some people have to be guided through. There it is. They're like, "Oh yeah, now I see it." You know, they don't immediately connect with it, but like people say, "How do you find these things?" And I have to tell them I don't. They find me. You know,
Mm.
I'll be just somewhere, and all of a sudden, like they're looking at me. You know, and then I have to take my phone out and like get the picture because you know that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so pairing that with music artist features has been really very satisfying for me because it kind of bridged me, it brought me back into that music world. And
Mm.
ultimately how René, who was a former contributing editor to Procession magazine, found me.
Mm.
And she had suggested the introduction, which ultimately led to my involvement in the magazine. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
kind of a crazy turn. It's a small world, you know, and people know others and connect people together online like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that I mean, I'm just reflecting on what you've done for me, and uh, uh, for free. You first of all, you
yeah,
introduced me to Bandcamp.
yeah,
I was never on Bandcamp before. Oh yeah, you should get a Bandcamp thing. So I'm looking. What is this?
yeah,
I've been in this bubble, and it is totally cool, Bandcamp,
yeah,
because it also doesn't say, it doesn't like word it like, here, buy this, or whatever. It says it like you said, it uses the word support. So
yeah.
you want to, and it gives a little picture who supports this artist, and you feel,
I
oh
like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's different than a kind of sales jargon, to just say, oh, this is the way we support artists, which is really cool. And then another thing is you know, you really took time listening to my EP and reviewing it in a very thoughtful way, which
yeah.
was so wonderful for me. I think I told you I've been scared to get my music reviewed for maybe 25 years. Was the last time I had it reviewed.
Huh.
So it was, and that was in I think that was from an East Coast rocker. I don't even know if they're going anymore. Do you remember East Coast rocker? Are you
I
not East
don't.
Coast enough for that?
I'm very East Coast, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
them.
Well, there was a thing, East Coast rocker. They may not exist
Okay.
anymore, but it was like a newspaper, and they reviewed gigs and
Oh,
CDs and
okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like I really cared about what you produced, you know, like I said, I couldn't stop listening to it, you know, and while I do these features every Friday, promoting some artists that I've discovered, you know, it doesn't mean that they are completely undiscovered. It's just that I just recently learned about them, you know, and so I get
yeah.
excited about it and I look into their music and I find out who are they, what are they about, what else are they doing? And then I will listen to the songs and decide, how far do I want to take it?
Mm,
There are up and rising artists that I will feature exclusively under my hashtag facing intros.
mm,
And that is like a different level where I actually interview those artists, a mini interview, and I put it into the post with, you know, their visuals and, you know, a video that if I create a video for somebody that I want to help promote as well. With yours, you had some great visuals, you know, so I made use of those and the
yeah, but
songs.
and you threw together this little video that I could
Yeah.
use and you said, oh yeah, go ahead and use it for whatever. I was,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So yeah,
But
so I give it
what
away.
I'm getting at it, well, what I'm getting at is that, just my experience with you, I can imagine, because you've got interactions with hundreds of artists, and so this is what I'm like getting at, is that you really are a hero to this community. You are such a great support, and I know so many were saddened. Like you mentioned, we had a moment of silence for Procession Magazine on the last show
Yeah.
I did. But the also the cool thing is you just said, I'm just going to keep on going.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a digital version, keep
Yeah.
featuring new artists, keep
Yeah.
doing these things that you love, which I think is very also very admirable considering that you had this sad experience, you know.
Oh yeah. I've been doing this forever. Back in the days when I would make music samples for people, like, you gotta check out these artists.
Mm.
It's been like for my whole life is I've wanted to share great music, and
Yeah, I
so
like
it
mixtapes
it
and stuff like that.
yeah. So it's not a huge leap for me to be
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing. And yeah, it is an unpaid thing, but I have a passion for it, and I like crave new, and so I'm always searching, I'm listening, and I love promoting so many of these amazing artists that might not be getting the attention they truly deserve, and if I've broadened my audience to a music centric following, and so
Mm.
I have a platform where I can help them a bit, and get them a little bit more exposure. I encourage people to actually write about what they're listening to. I don't necessarily that everybody will listen always,
Mm.
but I hope that they do, and that's kind of why I continue. And
Yeah.
I think
Well,
because
I can tell you, I check out every artist that you feature, and I follow them too because even
yeah,
if you've sought them out, I think that's what you carry too is in the community is a certain stamp of approval, you know. So if you feature someone, I am gonna most likely like it too. You know what I mean? Just of sharing a
thank
similar
you.
aesthetic and
Yeah,
similar, and so it's yeah. So I always follow and I always listen to whomever you feature. Um,
nice, thank
and
you.
that's and I really enjoy that too because you know part of like probably when we first started talking, I've been on this evolution where I realized I'm a music fan first and foremost. You know, I was in this headspace of I'm an artist, and you know, you mentioned the money. I've got to make a ton of money. You know, from when I was a little kid, I had wanted to be this huge rock star, and now I'm like, wait a second. I'm making music I want to make. I'm meeting other artists. I'm meeting creative people like you. I get to connect with them and have a relationship with them. And I love it. You know, it's like
Ah,
I love
yes.
my life. I mean, am I rich? No, but I
uh,
mean, it really
it's
is
like
that
a
thing.
paycheck, though. It's like a
It,
paycheck.
it is.
It's a
It's like a
huge
spiritual
payoff.
paycheck. That's a spiritual paycheck. Yeah. But it's like, I've always heard people say that, you know, oh, money's not the thing. And, you know, you find something that you really, and I was always like, yeah, right, sure. You know, but I had to live so many years, I think, to really be like, ah, it's actually not about the money. As I've seen a
Mm.
lot of really rich people blow their brains out or OD on drugs, you
Also
know.
true.
So it's not about money, actually. It is about connection, like Jimmy says, you know, the connection, the human aspect, you know. Um, and it takes guts to do that, you know. I mean, you say, well, you know, not everyone can do what you're doing. You know, it takes something to step out and connect with people, you know. So that you've inspired me and Jimmy's inspired me like that, you know,
Oh,
to do this show here.
yeah, I love what you're doing, really. And I've
I
been watching everything you produce and listening to everybody. Very interesting interviews. And,
Oh, thank you.
it's
Yeah, I
terrific
mean,
what you're
I
doing. I
love
love
it.
it.
I love it, you know. But I'm wondering, so let's go back to your song. Can you read the lyrics for us? I've been getting people to do that, and I think yours also kind of is a standalone, just as a poem.
Yeah, yeah. So
If
yeah, so
if you're comfortable with it. Yeah.
sure, yeah. So this is like I said, it was just a stream of thought initially. It was very verbose, and I had to bring it way down to make it very short, succinct, and then give some kind of rhyming element to it. So
Hmm.
I called it Drift Away. I'll explain all of this as I go through, probably would be best. So
Okay.
it opens with the turbulent sea.
Let me just say, can you read it all the way through and then go back and talk about things?
Sure.
Because I want to
Yeah, yeah.
I got to feel the whole piece. Just
Good.
selfishly, I want to listen.
All right. Yeah. Okay, good. I'll do that. All right. So the song is Drift Away. The turbulent sea played its part, breach in the hull, things to fall apart. A captain at sea without any crew, the turbulent sea that nobody knew. Kissed by the waves, now so painful to be, watching it all drift away from me. And then I'm whispering, away from me, drift away.
Mm,
So, so this obviously didn't just come into my head as a song and a visual, right? So it evolved.
mm,
And I thought, here I am, um, going to part with something that I so embraced and
mm,
so invested freely, volunteer hours, countless hours,
mm,
Scott. I couldn't tell you how much emphasis I put into it. And then even the weekly little plug promotions, encouraging people to go check out the magazine, please buy an issue. So the Turbulent Sea, it was a concept about how very rough things have become, and
mm,
so in life there are no constants. You can help promote that level of continuance. However, you don't ultimately have full control over it, and external factors will come and go, and they will shape a new future, in all the things that we do. And
mm,
so the the turbulence is the word that I found about how people don't know how hard it was for this DIY small group of people volunteering their time to produce a magazine to hopefully reach the world audience, a global audience,
mm,
and the turbulence surrounding, impacting or pushing back or not getting the reach that we wanted. So that's kind of what I'm speaking to there. A breach in the hull means that, okay, things started to chip away, things to fall apart. We've had members of the team slowly move away. They've gone off, and
mm,
they're not part of the magazine. It came down to just Chris and I in the end.
mm,
And so Chris has been very busy. He has a new job he loves, and I'm so happy for him. And so his focus has moved on, And then when I say a captain at sea without any crew, I'm kind of thinking of myself, because I'm like the last man standing,
mm,
like that captain on the ship, and
mm,
there's no crew anymore, and I'm still trying to navigate the turbulent sea,
yeah,
that still nobody knows I'm doing. Nobody knows
mm,
about it, and holding that almost a secret, because I wanted to give Chris the opportunity to come out with it first.
mm,
It is still his plan. I think he wants to put together some kind of writing to make an announcement of where the zine is currently, and things maybe that he wants to continue to move forward.
mm,
And then in the where I'm saying kissed by the waves, that actually was kind of a tricky thing for me to write, because what I wanted to represent was like the dark wave music, the synth wave
mm,
sound. So how can I say, that I met with, embraced, by those genres of music. And so I thought, how
mm,
about kissed by the waves, because
mm,
I'm in the water, I'm still in this like fake world, this invented world that I put together for this thought and these emotions. So yeah, kissed by the waves speaks to how the genres have so embraced the magazine and what it is that we were doing,
mm,
and then to follow it with now so painful to be, watching it all drift away from me, because yeah, the team members, scattered, and then now the opportunity of moving the magazine into the future has also gone away, so it's all just drifted away from me. So that's in a sense why, how the lyrics apply to the real world reality of the zine going away.
mm. Yeah, but it's also, I mean, like all beautiful poetry, it can also be a metaphor for any reader, for any kind of loss. Of course, we all experience loss, and
You're right.
you kept it open enough that
And
that was quite beautiful to me, because as I was reading through it, it's interesting because I didn't think about that "Kissed by the Waves," but I thought about this concept of how even when these bad things in life happen, you something good can end up coming out of it, a change in direction. So I was thinking about like kissed by the
I
waves,
like
like
that.
even though it's knocking you over, it's actually nudging you into the next evolution, and how can that be a bad thing? We all want to evolve and keep going. And so I was kind of hearing that, which is interesting,
I love that. I love that you did. As I said, when I wrote it, nobody knew the truth yet.
Yeah,
So
so
I
it's
had to
very
keep
vague.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
I had to keep it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So but it worked beautifully. And then talk
Thanks.
about the actual recording of it. It starts with the sounds of the ocean.
Yeah,
Did you record that, or was it a sample you used, or
it was a sample that I
was a
used.
sample? Yeah,
And when I somehow came up with this theme of this captain on the ship, I thought,
yeah.
how can I make it all come together? So then the writing had to also have a relation to that idea. And I thought, what if I brought in the sounds of that turbulent sea as well? So I wanted to bring that in at the beginning, and I also close with it too. And
Yeah.
if you saw the video I put together, that was also just stock video. I didn't shoot that stuff because, again, I didn't expect this to go anywhere. It was really just a self-healing exercise, So
Yeah.
I paired that visual, like again, black and white, keeping it in alignment with the magazine. So there are all these things and thoughts that I put into it that were intended to be a little bit hidden, because I knew that the announcement was coming, but it needed to be done appropriately and by the right people. So I was being respectful, and that's why I tried to hide that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I tried to get you on this show right at the beginning. You're like,
I
let
know.
me let me wait
I
until
know.
it's
I
announced.
told
So
you
yeah,
I needed to have Chris's blessing to
yeah,
talk openly about any
yeah,
of this, and he gave me that. And that's when I
yeah,
said, Scott, if you still want to do this,
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
talk about it. Yeah.
Well, I think it's so inspiring to people, and it's interesting, doing this song series. Of course, it's almost like a theme where a lot of the songs, like you had just remarked about Bruce from the Stave Church, people are picking these songs that they want to talk about, that are really about traumatic things in life, and it's about, like, I think it's very inspiring to hear about how people really suffer and can turn it into something, into creating something beautiful. That's like this thing that is hard to explain, but it's super inspiring, I think.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
um
everybody's got something that they're dealing with, and we don't know what those things are, and some of those can be crippling, and some can be overcome, but they each have their own healing process. And learning about artists that have put like such serious incidents in their lives into song, learning about it after the fact is really just fascinating, because, like, you were talking about the song that I just put out,
mm,
you don't know it. You don't know the true story.
mm,
You might like the music, you might connect that's on some level as you did with the lyrics, and even in a different way, which I love. I think that's amazing.
mm,
But only until an artist talks about where that came from, and explains or defines the meaning for that song coming to be, do you really realize what's going on, and you look at it completely differently,
mm.
and it's just it's an amazing awareness that
Journey.
people
Yeah,
come
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then I want to talk about the overall sound of the track, because I also really like that. And I'm wondering, I always like, I'm often saying to people, it reminds me of this, but this could almost be like a Tones on Tail track. You remember
Oh,
Tones on
you got
Tail
it. You
when they
got
were
it.
really?
Yes. I was so into the Tones on Tail. Oh my God. And they had just that real subtle guitar, and
Yeah, yeah.
Daniel Ash, I thought he was so amazing. And so, because at the time, I think when I really was into that, my wife was working super late hours, and she basically said, "Hey, go to Chuck Levin's, buy some gear, buy some foot pedals, buy, and
Wow.
basically I was just that's what I ended up focusing on. I'd come home from my full time and just start playing, coming up with ideas,
Wow.
and
That's a
but
that's a
always paid
supportive wife right there. A lot
yeah,
of a lot of
yeah.
people have to hide the receipts.
Well, she said go out and do it. Yeah, that's how I got that beautiful Kramer that I always played. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, that's great that you figured that out because like Bauhaus, The Sky's Gone Out
Mm,
is probably will probably always be the most impactful album
mm.
that I ever heard. At the time
That's a huge one for me too. Yeah.
when I heard that, I thought, this isn't like anything else that I've
Yeah.
ever heard, and it just really gripped me,
Yeah.
and I think that we are exposed to music early on in life, and then we will gravitate to certain genres, and there may be reasons for it, or there may not be, but then we really will settle somewhere, and very early on, I think before there was really a solidified gothic music genre,
Mm.
I was already there,
Yeah.
and it's weird, like we must be born in a I loved Halloween, more than
Oh yeah,
Christmas.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean,
Except, but
that was my
as what
thing.
we call in New York City, what we called amateur night. So we were dressed for Halloween every night.
Yeah, every day is Halloween, as Ministry
So
once said.
we called Halloween amateur night.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
that album, yeah, I think that was the second Bauhaus album I got because
correct. Yeah,
actually didn't the double album Best of come out before that or was it after that?
I'm not sure.
I thought it was actually before that, but that seems strange. But anyway, I know I got that first. I got the double one first, and then Sky's Gone Out. Yeah, that was my second one, and I was like, yeah, like you said, I was like, not only was I going to buy every Bauhaus album, but I was going to buy every solo project that could possibly, every constellation for all time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard me tell this story, but I on my college on the wall of my college dorm, I had a picture of Daniel Ash, a guitar player for Bauhaus and Tones on Tail. People don't know, and Love and Rockets.
Yeah.
I said, "Don't leave this room unless your hair is spiked this much," and it was because I had the same huge hair.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I told that on Jimmy's Insta Live. Did you hear that story?
I'm
Or
sure
no?
I did.
Okay, but I ended up meeting Daniel Ash.
I do remember that
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
that was
And
crazy.
and
Yeah,
crashing that party and like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're done. That was unbelievable. What a
But
story. Yeah,
I mean, but the biggest thing was being able to talk to him about hairspraying techniques.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so surreal. But
Yeah.
yeah, but your guitar really reminded me of Daniel Ash. Had
Yeah, you hit
the
it.
slight a little
You hit it. The Tones on Tail
weird like
era is absolutely
atonal.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
maybe
type
that's
of
what tones
guitar.
on tail. I don't know because it's like atonal. Maybe that's what he meant by tones on tail. I don't know because his guitar parts always have that a note in it where you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then he just keeps playing it. Oh, okay, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he does tend to
And
do
I
that
love that. I
actually.
love that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, going back to that song though, I did want something that sounded like the rising and falling of the ocean. And
Mm,
so that's why I kind of repeated that guitar riff. Yeah.
yeah. I love that. And then the vocal, when it comes in, you chose to do spoken word pretty much.
Yes.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
And it's super effective. Yeah.
well, I'm glad that it came off as well as it did because I can't sing anymore. I just my voice is it doesn't come out. I could go and I could start coughing if I try to sing something. So
And
I
okay.
thought, well, here I've decided I was going to put this to song. So how do I do it? And then I thought,
Mm,
well, I've heard other artists just speak. I thought I could do that. So I gave
mm.
it a try. Again, it was really just a sort of a self-healing process that it not really intended to be anything more than that. And so if I had really intended this to be a song and I wanted it to go somewhere, I probably would have put a lot more thought into it. Like I probably would have added a bass line and I would have probably had some other drum fills here and there, and I probably would have made my own spoken voice maybe a little creepier. I think I probably would have liked it to be a little creepiper.
Oh, really?
And and
See,
and when I
I
want
see.
to
I
see,
love it just the way it is. I love it just the way,
okay.
because the thing is so, I was talking about this with Jimmy and some others too. It's something about when you're like what you're kind of saying is maybe this is like just a demo and you would like to do a more uh, polished thing or something, but there's something about, feeling something and so quickly putting it down, and that vocal or the spoken word has you can really feel the vulnerability,
Hmm,
in your voice. So that's what I like it. I think I like it like this more than some kind of affectation that made it creepy or something.
okay.
I like you just like hearts on sleeve,
Oh, nice.
vulnerability in the
Yeah,
voice. I mean, personally, but
I love that.
like you said, you invited remixes. It would be fun to remix it and put a
I
bunch of stuff.
did actually. I was really hoping that someone who is really doing this professionally would do that, and I thought, oh, I hope somebody will come through, but nobody did. But,
Nobody.
maybe they still will.
Yeah, maybe that's the one. Maybe now. Hey, people.
Oh, yeah, please. I would love to hear that.
I could tell you, I'm doing these remixes now with James K. Ultra, Pain in the Yaz.
Yes.
It's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait for you to hear this, Renee, because I know
Yeah.
you spent some time with the material, such that I could produce it, and he has kept that because there's something to that, and he's somehow kept that vibe, but it's just expanded and the sound has just exploded. I mean, it I'm like so psyched for you to hear
All
this new
right.
stuff. Actually, I'll send you our new single if you promise to not share it with anyone,
Oh,
because it's going to come out at the end of September, and we want to keep a lid on it because we're going to do huge promotion. It's actually a Scott Baker Graham Pain in the Ass collaboration.
all right.
So we're really psyched about that. And then he's gone back and remastering a lot of my other stuff, but he's the remixing guy. I mean, I'm telling you, he is a genius, mad scientist. It is amazing what he does. So I
That's
highly
awesome.
recommend him if you want to take it to someone.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, amazing.
I'm really very interested in learning about new sounds, new artists. I'm constantly looking, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
lining up things for the future so it doesn't happen immediately. But yeah, I plan for things.
Well, let's talk about the future. Do you think Procession Magazine is going to formalize as a digital magazine and move on from there, or is it
Yeah.
are you just moving on to your own digital presence?
So I have had conversations with Chris about this, and I don't think that he really wants to move it
Mm,
into a digital platform, which we had encouraged him to do that a long time ago, but he said, I really want something print in hand. Of course, now though he's moving away from a zine completely. I think he's mine with promotions, music event promotions. So that's not something that I will be contributing to. So that's
mm,
why
yeah.
there's nothing left for me there.
And
But
that's not something you do part time either. Suddenly you got telephone calls all day long.
yeah, yeah. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, but I think it will evolve. It's going to be a little bit different, and because I was so passionate layout pages of the magazine. I'm going to bring that element into artists that I feature in the future. So I will be doing a magazine spread
Oh,
for an
awesome.
artist,
Yeah.
and it will just be a part of the post, so it will be like a digital run.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
so yeah,
Yeah, that's
so
because that's what I was going to ask you. Is there any chance you would do a digital zine? Because it's your, it's like it's not just the exposure to the artist, but just so people can experience your artistic mastery, with the
thanks,
layouts and
Scott.
just to have a, I mean, like Click, in a digital magazine. I think it would be totally cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it will reach that level, but I think that on a digital spread per artist type level, that will probably start that way, and
Mm.
and I'll see how it moves from there. Actually, I had connected with Rex Arcana, who is producing Static magazine, and
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah.
that is an industrial music focus, and um, I he had apparently done this before and found it to be really a tough gig, and he let that magazine go away.
Mm.
And all these years later, he's decided I'm going to give it a go again. And I thought,
Okay.
hey, I'd love to help you if I could maybe contribute a spread or something. And he thought, wow, that would be cool if you could do that. I was like, hey, just let me know what you want done and
Oh,
I'll do
awesome.
it. And
Oh,
so I did actually produce a page spread for his premiere issue. And he is right now actually trying to figure out which spread he wants me to create for his second issue. So
oh,
that will
awesome.
be like a recurring guest spread creative design type gig for me as well. So that will kind of give people back what they will be missing when the printed procession magazine goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, so what you're doing now, like in terms of making a living is like, um, can people hire you as a digital promoter? Is it that and making
Well,
videos and
yeah,
promotional
I mean,
materials or?
yeah, actually, I don't know that my audience realizes that this is something that I do professionally, and um, I mean, we spoke already about some of these logos and
Yeah.
merch designs that
And
I've
so
done.
and so people could reach out to you and say, "Hey,
They could,
I need a t-shirt, something, something, something," and you
yeah,
do that for
yeah, logos or shirt merch design.
yeah.
People want an album cover. I mean, I've done those for artists as well. Yeah, so it's like I offer a full creative package, so if that's something that is appealing to someone out there and they want something that's higher caliber than doing it themselves, that is something I would be very excited to
Oh,
participate
nice.
with and do so.
I know too, like being in bands for so many years, you can also have a graphic and not know where a good place is for t-shirts and stuff. You probably have connections like that too from doing it so
Oh,
often.
sure. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got lots of good partnerships with vendors.
Yeah, because that was always a thing in my bands, so it's that I think that's super valuable to be able to offer people designs and a vendor outlet, for actual merchandise.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, all right, awesome. And what about, will we hear any more music from you in the future, Renee?
That was unexpected too. That I had a lot of people say, "What are you going to do next?" Or like, "Can't wait to see what you do next." When that really wasn't my intent when I put the song together. So, I mean, as you know, you're a professional, so like you'll wake with a song in your head and that you've got to like put down somehow. And when I was doing this all the time, I had that that
Mm,
experience happened very often for me. And lately, although it's not my intent, it's starting to happen again, where like
it's
a guitar
happening.
a guitar riff will like be in my head. I'm like, oh wow, I wonder what that would sound like, And I actually wrote a note the other day. This is really unexpected because again, I don't know if it will even happen, but uh, it was based on hearing some kind of emergency vehicle go by and hearing the siren.
Mm,
And I thought, siren, yeah, siren. And I thought, sigh, comma, Ren. don't you know? You know, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
what if I made a song that had a siren audio in there somehow, and the lyric is like sigh, like René,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
sigh,
yeah.
sigh,
Yeah,
Ren.
right.
Don't you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it?
yeah, 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 yeah.
You
You
know, and
know,
so
yeah. I like the idea um of naturally occurring sounds. Like that could be a theme of your work, you know. That could be super interesting to follow your, because it's also kind of in a parallel world from seeing faces everywhere. It's hearing sounds everywhere, you know.
yeah, yeah, unexpected
That'd be
that that would have
cool.
inspired the lyric and the punctuation that because the English language is so weird because there's
Oh,
so many words that mean different things, and I love almost inverting them, and so that was probably a natural process for me to say, oh yeah, siren could be sigh comma ren, you
mm,
know, and only in a lyrical form would you realize that, oh, it's a sigh, you know, it's not
yeah, yeah, yeah,
siren
yeah,
literally.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I love it. I think you started your
So
second
maybe,
song there, Renee.
so yeah, maybe, no
Well,
promises.
well, we should jump up. We've been going 45 minutes already. Time flies, man.
Wow.
Wow. Um,
Oh,
it's always my intention to go 30 minutes and then I always go over because I just enjoy I enjoyed so much. But I really enjoyed talking to you. And excited to see what you do in the future.
thank you.
Like I said, you're a hero to me in this community, and I think many others. And you know, keep going. And
That's
you're inspiring. You're inspiring a lot of people.
it was amazing to hear from you, Scott. I really appreciate you saying so. And it's something that I just do naturally, you know. So yeah, I will continue doing that. And I'm really glad that it's being received like that by
Yeah,
others. So thank you for
yeah.
thank you for saying.
All right, Renee. Well, see you soon on the old internet.
Yes, very good.
See ya.
All right.